2 seconds early, so I'm gonna wait a minute here. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys have your coffee with you. I've got mine. Love my coffee. It's my favorite thing in the morning. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Jenny. So, first and foremost, my name's Bobby. I am the artist at Barfoot Babies and the owner of Trueborn, trueborns.com. I wanted to send out my condolences to the family of Tammy Yari, who was a pioneer in our industry as far as sculpting and talent and all that, and someone I highly looked up to when I came into this industry. I remember when she was like the it artist. We had to have her kits, you know, because they were so cute, and I've painted a few of them myself. Welcome Back Taylor was always my favorite, but that was like one of the hardest ones to find. And so I know I had made like Divine and Max was one of my favorites as well, but it was definitely shocking to hear of her passing. So I send my love and condolences to her friends and family. Today I wanted to talk about sales and more specifically honesty in sales. So just from an artist perspective, our responsibilities as artists, because I see a lot of posts about people getting babies or kits, blankets even that smell like smoke, or I'm going to tell you about an experience I had in a second with a kit I got years ago. But our responsibility as artists would obviously be to do our best work, which also includes learning and continuing to learn and build our skills. But whether we're making a more affordable baby, say that we get a kit at a lower price and we can, you know, paint it up and sell it a little bit cheaper, we're still, you know, we should still do our best work regardless. I know that I've made, you know, what they call budget babies, where they're maybe not quite as detailed, but you're still putting in, you know, some of your best work as far as making them to the highest standard you can for the type of baby that you're making. Pictures are a huge thing in sales. Filters are a no-no. I think most people know that in our industry. Using filters on pictures of something you're trying to sell, especially something where the coloring and the look of it is basically the whole point, then using filters would be a really bad idea. And can really be false advertising if you're using them, because people aren't seeing the actual coloring and the actual work. Plus the filters can sometimes end up causing the fine details to kind of disappear, and those are really important. As far as the home goes, if you have a smoking home, definitely disclose that, because that makes a huge difference to a lot of people as far as whether or not it's even considered new at that point, or whether or not they would buy it, because some people have allergies. Some people just don't want, you know, kits or babies that have toxic smoke smell on them. Animals, you know, if you have animals, definitely disclose that, especially if they're in the home. If you live on a property and you have chickens outside, who cares? They don't come in the house. But if you have cats and dogs and things in the home, definitely say that, because again, there's allergies and things involved that people deal with. So you want to be honest in what you're selling. My experience that I'm going to share, many years ago, I bought a kit from someone, and I always ask, well, maybe not always, but I used to ask more often if people had cats, especially because I have kids that are allergic, or if they smoke, because as far as I'm concerned, a kit covered in smoke is trash. That's my personal opinion. So I, of course, was told no, it's a non-smoking, non-animal home. And my mailman left it on my porch. And before I even brought it in the house, once I went outside, I knew something was wrong. I could smell something strange. And I brought it in the house and carefully opened it. And I noticed that the bag had these little tiny like poke holes in it, and that there was a liquid in the bag. And very quickly, from the that hit me in the face, I realized it was cat pee on this kit, and it was in the bag with the kit, so it was just puddled in there. And I ran the kit outside and threw it right in the garbage. But I remember contacting the lady and letting her know, the kit came to me and this, it had cat urine on it. And she said, no, it couldn't have cat urine on it. But then she said, I do have cats, but they're not allowed in my doll room. And I said, well, apparently one got in there. So of course I asked for a refund, and I felt terrible doing that, but I also didn't order a cat urine kit. I ordered a brand new kit that I was told was in perfect condition. So those kind of things are very important to tell people that are buying a finished reborn. In particular, for me, if it comes and it smells like smoke, to me that's just so disappointing. Babies don't smell like smoke. We want them to smell like babies and be fresh and brand new, especially if it's coming direct from an artist. I think people that it doesn't make it new to me at that point. You've tainted it in a way, and so smoke smell, not only does it contain toxins, but just the smell alone, the person buying it shouldn't have to try to find a way to get that smell out, because it shouldn't stink when it arrives. So I think it's very important to always tell that to the customer, and that way there's no risk of getting a charge back because something wasn't disclosed properly. As far as people being able to do chargebacks because of that, should they, shouldn't they? I definitely think if it's like a case like I went through where it was obvious a cat had peed on the kit, yeah, I'm going to do a chargeback, because I felt that was okay for me to do at the time. I've had people come back to me and just not like the scent of the vinyl. They think it was too strong, it smelled too chemically. Depending on, where they come from, they can, being in a bag and everything, have like a new vinyl smell. And sometimes people like it and some people don't. And sometimes the smell can be stronger than others. It just, I don't know if it's the batch that they use or what, but I've had people, and I'll give their money back, because in that instance, if it's something that's bothering them, like their lungs, and they can't stand the smell, I've given refunds for that. I think if you are a smoker and you even smoke outside your home, a lot of times, it's on your clothes, it's on your hands, it's on your breath, and now you're touching the vinyl, and probably a small amount of that is going to transfer over. So consider that, I guess, when you're selling. Some people have very sensitive noses to things like smoke and animals. And, telling them, being honest is obviously the best way to do it. Part of sales for us is meeting time limits. We have to be honest with the customer. If we are busy, like right now, people are starting to buckle down for the doll shows. I'm sure people are going to have a lot less room for custom orders and to get things like that done. So if somebody wants a custom order, give them an honest time frame of how quickly it can be done, while working on other things. A lot of times people stop doing customs around, showtime. I know that I got a friend looking for some artists, and she's having a hard time because everybody's buckling down for the shows to get those babies done. Deposits are something that come up with sales, whether it be a kit or a reborn. But a reborns in particular, a lot of people offer payment plans and ask for a deposit, and they make it non-refundable, which can be scary to the buyer, but that's to protect the seller in case the buyer backs out after we've put in either purchasing the kit, put in time, money into starting the order. Chances are we could probably sell it to someone else, but maybe that's not the kit we wanted to paint. We're doing it as a custom order. So deposits are non-negotiable, non-refundable, and but we have to again tell that up front so that people aren't like blasting. I see so many people get blasted on Facebook for being a scammer just because they won't return a deposit after someone wanted a baby. And there's a lot of things that get put out there. The word scammer is used very, very openly now. So if someone doesn't like something, they automatically call someone a scammer. So scammer pages are filling up with people that maybe aren't scammers, but maybe didn't return someone's message quick enough, or I know people are getting paranoid with all the fake kits and everything going around and the fake reborns, that if they're not getting answers quick enough, they think that they've ordered from a place that scams, and they start getting really worried about that. So we have to try to at least communicate as good as possible. I know at times I'm not the greatest with communication. I try to check everything, but then there's sometimes maybe an email or something that I miss, and then I feel terrible because I want to make sure I'm getting back to everybody as quickly as I can. I have different locations people can contact me at. I have a Facebook business page. I have my regular Facebook. I have an email. I have what's called a chat bot, which is, almost like private messaging, I guess. So I have different places. And then I have my artist page on Facebook where people message me too. So I have to check those several times a day to keep up with everything. Would I consider it false advertising if you don't tell people certain things? Yes. I think as an artist, we just have to be honest. And that way people know what they're getting, which is why, again, photos are so important, close-ups, things like that. If someone asks you for close-ups, no problem, just go ahead and give them a few pictures, ask them what they would like, and that way they know what they're getting. Again, we see a lot of posts on Facebook of people that saw a baby from way back here, never asked for close-ups, and then when they get it, it's half the head's bald, and the hair's jabbed in, and there's no detail or whatever it may be. But that happens too often. So that's something as artists that we have to make sure we do, especially the high-end side. One of the things that really gets me with sales is the terminology. It's one of the ones. When we are advertising, as from my experience in the 13 years I've been in the industry, certain terms are for certain types of babies. So reborns tend to be vinyl. I've always heard it as vinyl, and that way it's not confused with clay or silicone or anything else. A reborn's a vinyl doll. Silicone is a silicone, and a one of a kind obviously is clay. I know those terms are interchanged, and I don't know if it's just to get more views on things, or if people really don't understand what the terms are. But when you have a one of a kind reborn silicone that you're selling, it's very confusing at that point, because and then people use vinyl silicone as well, which can happen. So we have to make sure to use the correct term so we're not confusing the buyer and then they get it and they're disappointed. So those terms, some people have a different opinion on the terms. As far as me, A reborn is a vinyl baby. A silicone is a silicone. One of a kind, obviously, is one of a kind and sculpted from clay. So that way there's no confusion. I know that people put silicone vinyl a lot to compare, I guess, the softness of the vinyl to be similar to silicone. They're very different mediums, and I don't ever find them similar in any way. I have yet to. They are very different. So using the correct term, especially when silicone and vinyl literally don't mix chemically, so you can't have a silicone vinyl. It's just a very confusing, and I'll try to ask people if they put it, you know, I'll go in and say, is it a silicone or is it a vinyl? And that way, you know, there's clarification, because I don't want other people being confused and then thinking, oh, I'm getting a silicone baby for $200, and then they get a vinyl baby and they're disappointed. So don't be afraid to, you know, help people and help them learn the terms correctly so that we're not confusing our buyers. I know that a lot of times people looking, especially for the lower price babies, are very new to the industry and really don't understand our terminology or kind of the whole concept. You know, this is why many of the scam sites are so successful, because people don't really understand what a reborn is and how it's made. So like I said in the last little episode, is we've got to educate people on that. But as artists, you know, make sure that you're telling people the correct medium that you're selling, and that way they're not confused. And I think that's about it for today. I will be coming back. I've got some really interesting things I want to talk about. One of them is going to be the pricing of reborns themselves, because I know this is a huge reason that a lot of people are going to the scam sites, is, you know, the cost of reborns. But maybe if people understand what goes into it, then we can kind of, you know, justify our time and what we put into these babies, the passion and the time that goes into them. I'm going to do a video on, you know, kind of handling reborns and what they're intended for, and clothing and things, because we all know that, most people know that the really dark clothing can transfer over and ruin the vinyl, but not everyone knows that. So kit prices, that's something I wanted to also talk about on a different morning. So for today, that's about it. If you guys have any questions, again, just message me, email me, Facebook me, Instagram. I have Instagram. I don't go on it as often as I should, but I do have it. You can contact me on Trueborn's Facebook page, on Barfoot Babies, or just my personal, which is under Bobby Barfoot. And it's Barfoot. I know a lot of people say Barefoot, but there's no E. It's just Barfoot. Not quite sure the background of our last name. I know my dad's family's from Canada, and they came originally, I think, from Holland. So I'm assuming it's a Dutch name, maybe. A lot of people think it's Native American just because, like, bar and foot, you know, kind of sounds like it. But anyways, I will be back to talk about some of these other topics. I'm hoping one of these days to get someone to join me, do like a split screen discussion with someone else who's got some maybe different opinions on these different topics, because I'd like to hear all sides. We have to be open to hearing different points of view. So you guys have a good day. Enjoy your coffee, and enjoy your dolls. I'll talk to you later. Bye.